would request if you can, record the session, please. Yeah. So, good morning, everyone. So, first of all, Balaji, thank you so much for giving us your time and coming us and helping us to give idea on the support structure that we have. This is basically with reference to everyone. I would like to introduce Mr. Balaji. So he heads the support for India, and he has actually taken out special time to come on this call just to all to let you know the support process, the support. The what are the challenges that we face during the support, how to fetch the data, the initial level of data that generally the support team requires it. So all these queries are going to be addressed during today's call. So guys, I would really request you that you make it interactive. You make it interactive, and whatever queries, whatever things that you want to clarify, please use this session to clarify all your doubts. So Balaji, over to you. You can
Thanks.
probably you can start the session, please.
Yep. Thanks, Raghav. Yeah. Okay. Let me go ahead. Welcome to F5 Support. As Raghav mentioned, I'm Balaji Jokalingam, a Global Support Manager handling the India team. Let me go through what F5 Support is, and then we can go on step. So we will go through the agenda of what support services, how to engage us for any assistance, and what are all the tools you have for yourself to look into or troubleshoot or diagnose or do a general health check of the device. So on support services, we call a global service. We have it into three parts. One is support service, which is us. We provide post-installation remote assistance support. The remote assistance is we don't have on-site engineers. It is all through remote support centers wherever we are located. And we do handle software or hardware issues. Professional services is our other big team who deliver on anything other than post-installation or non-break fix issues. So we have a new deployment or configuration, migrations, or anything about the device hardening, assessment of the device, optimizing your setup or the configurations, all this, or even iRules writing, and those all will come into professional services. Knowledge services is where is one of our Red Education is also part of it, where it comes under training certifications, and it will be purely on, if you are focused on certain modules you want to work into, then they will provide the right training on that aspect. So we will look into only the support services here. I'll not go into other things. So let me go with the support services. So F5 support centers are located across the globe. So whenever you raise a case, depending on what time you raise a case, the case will get landed in any of the support centers here. So Singapore, Tel Aviv, Warsaw is the closest to our India time zone. Within India, we do have a small set of engineers. We don't call it as a support center yet because we don't handle everything from India within India. The volume is huge and the numbers are a bit less than engineers wise. So we still have engineers in Singapore or Warsaw or London, or if it's a late night calls, it will be handled by our Spokane, Seattle, Guadalajara team. If it's the early morning call, it lands in Auckland or Beijing or Shanghai, depending on the resource availability and the time it's getting raised. This is our structure. We work in 24/7 covering in each time zone. So Singapore finished the shift by 6 p.m. By the time Warsaw is online, and Warsaw and London finish the shift, Guadalajara is online. And that's the structure we follow throughout the sun. Support levels, we have a few different offerings. Standard is a basic offering. It's 10 to 5, meaning Monday to Friday, morning 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Local time. So that is where you will get the support. Premium 24/7. It is same as standard. Just the word premium is a bit might be misleading, but it's same as standard, but it's 24/7. So you can raise a case any time of the day, any day. So that's premium 24/7. In India, as far as I'm aware, most of the accounts fall into this category. Very few has a standard support. I think a couple of government departments or very few devices fall into the standard category. And also we have enhanced services where you have the same premium service, with the service delivery manager, or with the P Plus, which is we call as a premium plus, which will be like you have a dedicated resource who's more aware of the customer setup and dedicated hotline to calling in with priority queues and other stuff. In India, we do have 2 customers offer this opted for the service. And there are a lot of other different offerings from professional services where you have an on-site engineer handling optimizations and other things day in, day out. And yeah, I'll leave it that part. So whatever we cover here will be part of standard and premium support, as that's the most, and that is where I think most of the accounts go with. And yeah, for whatever I'm referring here, it will be part of the standard and premium, not premium plus or PS-based services. So what we call post-installation support, that's the F5 support Carter. We say that we provide remote assistance so when you experience any software or hardware issues. So the software issues could be the functionality, configuration related, and the hardware issues could be a hardware failure, the device completely down, kind of situations. Software configuration, this is where we've seen a lot of differences or a different kind of interpretation. For support, the scope is about break fix. So what we mean by break fix is if you have a configuration parameter which is previously functional, means it was working before and it stopped working due to some reason, then that is what we call it as break fix. So that will be what support scope is, and that is what we are available to assist with. So anything you configure new, anything you run into migrations, or you implemented a new policy or a new application is onboarded and you are trying to configure, it's not working, support will provide a reasonable effort, not as a break fix level priority or severities. So we will provide any available documentation as long as you provide the right data or the information related to the issues, we can review it and provide some guidance, but it will be through a reasonable effort with a lower priority. Break fix always takes top priority. Hardware troubleshooting, yes, if you have a hardware device in your setup, it went down, yeah, we will analyze, figure out if it is a real hardware issue. And then if it is, then yeah, we will initiate the RMA process. RMA is our logistic process for the replacement of the device. And based on, RMA has its own contract. So based on that contract, whatever the customer opted, so that service will be like a next business day delivery or 4-hour delivery, or a standard delivery means it gets shipped from US. So it might take a week or 2 depending on custom clearance and all the other processes. iRule support, as I mentioned in my previous slide, professional services are available to design, write iRule, and develop something for customer specific requirements. If you already have an iRule which is working and then it stopped working due to an upgrade, or it is causing memory leaks or certain issues, then support will look into that iRule and troubleshoot and help it out. But if it's a new iRule which never worked, then support won't be able to assist. That is something either you can use our Dev Central forum, which is our online community forum, which is free, and go through. We have lots of customers, even F5 was part of that community. They provide regular suggestions, and then otherwise you can opt for professional services if it is time specific requirements. Yeah, so professional services, anything except break fix, all falls under professional services. Any questions in this before I go to the next slide on opening service request with F5?
No questions.
No.
Okay, let me, we'll still have a Q&A in the end. I just want to make sure. Okay, let me go to the next one on opening service request with F5. This, I'm pretty sure most of you will be doing day in, day out when you're supporting your customers. And you may be very much aware of the process, but still I want to highlight a few things over here. So we have the 3 ways of opening support ticket. One is through contacting F5 support. So if you go to the website, the reason I just put the website instead of the phone numbers is the numbers are city specific. For India, there is no toll-free numbers due to telecom regulations, we were not able to get the toll-free numbers in India. So for India, it is there are 6 city-specific numbers. You can dial any city number. It doesn't matter which city you are in. So you just need to use the right code to dial it. And so the 6 numbers you can use to call and open a case with us. If it is a SEV one, I highly recommend, like if it is a priority one, side down, nothing is working, huge business impact, I always suggest to call support and open the case, provide all the informations about the issue impact, and then raise the case. It has a much better way of managing within ourselves to get the right resource available within 30 minutes of initial response is what we claim for we opt for the SLM. The other option is through web portal. It's myf5.com. So this is a new web portal. Previously, we used to have a web support.f5.com, and this got migrated a couple of months back. I'm sure most of you have access to this now and able to access it. So this one is integrated with our knowledge base. So when you provide some error messages or certain informations, you get recommendations on the error messages where we already have a knowledge article which has the steps on how to fix it, what it is, and or what all data to collect and all. So you can review that and try to fix it by yourself as a self-solve, which is much faster. And if you still need some assistance, you can provide all those informations on what is the error, what you tried, what's outcome, and provide us the data and open a case through the web portal. If you don't have access to the web portal or you cannot call, there's one last option is the email. You can email us at support1.fi.com. But I would say this is not recommended for SEV1 or SEV2 issues. It takes time because email communication, it comes in, someone has to review it, return back with some additional information, back and forth. There will be a couple of emails, and then the case gets opened. So if it is a severity 3 or priority 4 tickets, then feel free to go with that. Otherwise, always use phone for severity 1s and portal for other cases. We do have chat now. It's get integrated and it has also been improved. So you will see a chatbot in MyF5 portal. So you can use that as well, and it will surely come up with some templates to fill in for opening the case in near future. So case severity definitions and response time targets. So in F5, we have 4 severities. So we have the site down, site at risk, performance degraded, and general assistance. And we don't have SLAs, service level agreements. We have an SLM, service level metrics, where our target is 30 minutes initial response time for a severity 1 case when it gets open, the first response. So when a case is open, the first response by FI support will be within 30 minutes, and we suggest you to open via telephone. And that is when you get the 30 minutes SLM. If you open it through the portal, it is 60 minutes response time. So what we classify as site down, you have a virtual server with one specific application and something is completely down, and you have all users not able to access, or your full box is down. So those are all falls under site down situation. So you can set the priority as a severity 1 or site down and raise the case. Severity 2 is you are running at a risk. You have a HA device, one device is down, and you have only one device running, and anytime if this device goes down or something happens, it's complete site down. So all those situations will fall as site at risk. Or sometimes you have a latency where it is not performing as expected, and you're worried that it might definitely cause more issues when it completely stops or the latency is increased and affecting the user access. Those all will come into severity 2. Performance degraded is something you see some error messages, or you see some memory increase gradually, or you're concerned about the CPU usage or the disk usage, those kind of things. You can raise it as a performance degraded. General assistance is any general questions or any new configuration questions. You are trying to configure something, you want some clarity on this particular document or what this does, or those kind of things, you can raise it as a general assistance. So for general assistance, it's 24 hours initial response. Severity 3, it is a 4-hour initial response, and severity 2, it is a 2-hour initial response. And severity 1, if it is raised via phone, it's a 30 minutes initial response. If it is raised via portal, it's a 60 minutes initial response. and what information we need from you when you open a case. So if you are on the call, you would have known multiple times we always ask for the name, phone numbers, serial numbers is where we get your asset details, your entitlement like a premium contract or standard contract, or all details will come in that. We also will be able to pull the product platform, but we won't be able to pull the modules, what you're licensed, what you're using. So you will need to provide us with that information. If it is an issue with the ASM policy or AWAF policy, we want you to say it's the AWAF device or this is the policy. Then software version, so which version you are running. So that is very important as well, because we do have a lot of versions which is end of technical support. And if you are running that version, then you won't get technical support. And if you give a different version and send it as a QKView, we'll be able to find the version what is running. Then yeah, it takes longer to guide you in the right direction on what to do next. So about the problem, we'll talk a bit more details in the next page. We need a very detailed problem description, severity of and criticality of the business. So all these details we need. And access, whether you are able to access the device, if it is a hardware issue, whether you are able to access the data center and access the remote controls like console through whichever way possible. So all these things we will have a check on. General files, what we need is a QKView, which is kind of a dump of the device. It collects every information. Because whenever a case gets logged and the engineer picks it up, the engineer will be handling multiple cases, multiple accounts, and to get a quick understanding of your setup, your configuration, what is going on, they will always look for this QKView. So that gives information along with the other information on which virtual server, what is the error, the time of the errors, they will be able to narrow it down much quicker. Log files, as I said, QKView is like a kind of a snapshot. Sometimes some log files are truncated due to excessive logging, or we might need to troubleshoot it 2 days, 3 days old logs, and that may not be captured in the QKView. So we will ask for the tarball of the log files. EUD is an end user diagnostics. So this is only requested when you have an hardware issue. Where it is not very obvious. Some hardware issues are obvious, like PSU down. It will clearly tell us in the logs and the command, no LEDs. Yeah, we can understand. But there are some like interface issues or memory issues or CPU related issues or internal board related issues, motherboard related issues. We won't be able to have an immediate indication in anything. And that is where EUD comes into play. So it runs a series of tests and provides us with the results, whether it's passed, failed, and based on that, we will take the decision of RMAing the device. TCP dump, I'm sure you're all are aware of, and anything related to network. So any resets happening, slow response, not getting the right response, anything in the network, we will need a TCP dump. So to basically to see what packet is coming into F5, what is going out, and what is coming from the backend, and what is going to the client. If we are able to isolate that it is not an FI issue, then that's something customer should be working with other teams or the other devices to look at, which is what we look for in the TCP dump. So when you open a case, the more information you provide while opening, it will be much easier to start the troubleshooting and have a good understanding of what is going on. Otherwise, without right information, it's going to be a nightmare for everyone to ask multiple questions and need to get a good understanding. So take your time in opening a support case. If you get an issue from the customer and you need to open the case on behalf of customer, make sure you ask all these questions to the customer so that you understand first what the issue is, whether it is really related to FI, what is the impact, and based on that, you get us those informations along with any error messages and stuff. So we need to know what is impacted, what kind of traffic is affected. Is it only TCP traffic, UDP traffic, DNS, or only with the ASM profiles? Also, who is affected? Is it only certain part of the users or all the part of the users? Some accounts may have multiple VLANs, and if there is a specific group is impacted, also timeline of the event, when the issue started. So that is very, very important for us to know what was the good working time logs and what time the issue started so that we can easily narrow it down. Also, if the issue is still ongoing or it happened at so-and-so time and it stopped and so-and-so time, that information is also very much needed. And not the least, business impact. So because of this issue, what was the impact? So what was the customer's impact? How many users impacted? So all these informations will help us to judge the right priority of the case. And when you give these things, you may have an error message, like if it's a mobile app, they may be getting some specific errors on the mobile, or it's a web-based app, they might be getting some reset messages or something. If you see any error messages, just get us that error. And also, if there is any recent changes in the network, not only FI, in the backend, in the network upstream switches or routers anywhere, just give us those details as well, so that we can at least trace back. So if the change is the cause of the issue or something else is the cause of the issue, and any steps if the customer has already tried to resolve the issue, like any workaround, or did they do some other bypass something or tested something or rebooted the backend servers or the switches or something. So anything is already been tried, you can give that information so that we don't need to redo the same. And we can be looking at, okay, these are all steps is done, what next we need to go on. And always provide a specific virtual server or the application which is being used, because we have seen most customers may have hundreds of virtual servers, and when you get a QKView and say my application is not working, for you may know what's the application, what's the virtual server. For the support, we have no clue what is there, and for us it's just the virtual server name we need to look for. So provide those details, and if all the virtual servers are impacted, then provide us which is the most critical virtual server, so that we can focus the troubleshooting and the flow of data on that particular virtual server. Because when everything is down, we need to at least take one reference to track what is going on. So it will be easy in that way if you can provide which virtual server to focus on. And QKView, yeah, so that's something you need to collect whenever there's an issue. Always try to upload to ihealth.f5.com and provide us the link, which is much easier for us to immediately look into it rather than uploading to the portal. Because the moment you upload to the portal, we need to re-upload it to iHealth to start our review. iHealth does have a lot of heuristics and diagnostics, which gives us a good information, which you should be using regularly, which I'll touch up in the last slides. And if you have taken any packet captures or anything which demonstrate the problem in F5, then yeah, please provide that as well. Other than this, depending on the type of issue, if it is a core or if we need some debug logs or anything, we might be asking more diagnostic files from you. And yeah, wherever you are available, whichever time zone you call in, we also expect you to be available to run the commands, run the data collection, and provide us with the data to go through. Sometimes repetition of tests may be required. You may think, or customer might think, why you are asking for repeated data. Sometimes we may need to compare the delta on what happened the previous, what happened now. And sometimes we may need an additional debug information added to that previous logging so that we collect more information to it. So yes, there will be situations where we cannot ask the data in one time, and we will ask for repetitions of data. And when it goes to next level engineering or product engineering, they might add additional data collection steps to collect more precise information to narrow down the issue. For complex issues or any side down issues which needs attention, yes, we will be available on Zoom or WebEx or Teams, whichever customer prefer, but that is not a given for all the cases. So only on certain complex issues, we will join remote to work through. And we don't take active control of the sessions to make any changes directly on the production server. We expect the customer or the partner, whoever is handling the device as an FI admin, to own that activity to perform the changes. So when the case is raised and when it is owned, if it is a severity 1 case and you are constantly on the call or remote session, it gets handed over to the next region for the continuity. But for other severity 2, severity 3, severity 4 cases, it stays with one engineer most of the times, unless there is a specific request from customer or yourself to have it reassigned to closer to your time zone or for a specific time, certain activities or something. Otherwise, it stays with the engineer. So every engineer will have their working hours in the signature. So the cases are monitored during their working hours, not outside of the working hours. So if you are sending an email asking for an update or providing some data and expecting a response, always check the NSE signature to identify what is their shift hours and what time they'll be available to respond back. If it is something really urgent or something gone down, you need immediate assistance, always call support with the right information, with the case number, what is going on, why you need another engineer now to take over, and then it can get reassigned to the next available engineer closer to the time zone they're working on. And yeah, as I mentioned, premium support cases, it can be opened anytime 24/7, and any support centers online will pick it up. Standard support is only worked through specific hours, 10 to 5, 10 to 6. When it's a site down issues, all other issues gets backed out and site down issues take precedence. Whenever we notice optimization queries or a new configuration which need deeper reviews and assistance, or any other configuration aspects, we might refer you to the consulting team if the regular normal documents, whatever we available, is not suitable for the customer setup, or is something unique which needs a more detailed review. So we have something called proactive cases. I know many of you would have opened. So whenever you have an upgrade or something, or any major activities, you can raise a proactive case. Just do it in a week or 2 weeks in advance with all the information. What it does is it just gives us some visibility on what is going to go on and a plan for any resource availability within ourselves, not for a standby for the customer. So there is a bit of a difference there, where we have seen many times we get a proactive case and say, keep the engineer on standby. So that is not something what we provide. What we do is it's internal tracking. We make sure we have some enough resources available on the day to handle it. When you run into a problem, you call in and use this case number so that the support knows that, yes, there is an activity, this is the case number, and they will not ask you for serial number, contact details, and all these things while they open the case and try to look for the next available engineer to assist you on that. Okay, I have a few more slides, almost near the end, close to 30 minutes now. So RMA, I mentioned about a few different entitlements, right? So your standard premium contract for the support is different, and you have an RMA, there is a separate contract. So one is the standard RMA, which is shipped from US repair facility. It takes days, weeks, sometimes. And the other one is the next business day. Most of the accounts I've seen in India are with this one, and this gets shipped from the local depots. And the time starts after you return the RMA template filled with all the shipping address details and other things, not when you raise the case. So that's one thing I want to clarify. Same for everything, even for the 4-hour delivery. It is again, once the engineer review it, analyze, confirm it is an RMA, he raise a work order to the logistics team. Logistics teams will send you a template. And once that template is sent to you, and then you fill in all the details like reconfirming the serial number, your shipping address and all, and you return back. From that time, your time clock starts, like for next business day or a 4-hour shipping details. So resource and tools which you can use by yourself. As I mentioned, our MyFI portal is modified a lot with a lot of new features. You will find a lot of information, product manuals, release notes, and also knowledge base articles, some bug details, everything you will find it over there. So iHealth link also, you will get it over there to upload your QK view. So make use of the tool. So you can put in the search field, put in the details, any error messages or anything you come across, or you see some SSL cipher issues or something, or those kind of things you can just put in and you will get a lot of knowledge articles to review across. So iHealth is something you need to use regularly as a best practice, I would say. Like you can just generate a QK view, upload it. You will find a summary of the device status, like its uptime, what's the active status, or how many configurations are there, how many virtual servers are there, pools are there, iRules are there, monitors are there. And also on the left side, you will see a diagnostics tab where you can select, and it will give you a critical diagnostics, high, medium, low. It gives a general guidelines along with the article as well, linked to it to say what steps you can take to correct it. So it's like a self-solve, review of the health check of your device. And Dev Central is another tool which I mentioned. It's a free community website where we have a lot of FIOs part of this community, and we have customers, partners across the globe. They discuss a lot of new things. If they want to change something, if they want to improve something, it gets discussed over here, and some suggestions or solutions are provided. However, anything you take from here is supported from here, not through the support. So just keep that in mind, but you can learn a lot from here. And if you have a UAT or something, you can play around and learn for yourself. So I'll share this slide as well. This has a couple of links. So whenever you go for an upgrade, always look into the release notes, which has the bug details on what all it's fixed, what are all the known issues available on the bug. And it's just a good reference point for you to make a decision and go for the upgrade. We have upgrade guides, which shows, which now has videos. Previously, it used to have a lot of instructions. Now it has videos, which gives a very good guide on what steps to follow and how to do it. VE license move, if a customer has a VE and he's moving from one hypervisor to another hypervisor, then you need to follow this license move. So there are articles explaining what to do on it. And we do have some troubleshooting guides based on certain products for LTM, ASM, APM. So you have troubleshooting guides for those products, which you can use it from our portal. And the other tools, I just gave the link for the three. Okay, so support escalation matrix. We don't have anything like a named contact in standard and premium support. So the only option is you need to call support and speak with the duty manager. So duty managers are available 24/7, and based on whichever the support center is active and online, so they will be available online. So if you have a case which you feel is not going as per your expectations, or you're feeling that it is not handled properly, you need to escalate to the next level, then you can call support based on the contact numbers, which for India, use any of the 6 numbers, and then speak our first line TSCs will took the call, and you can tell them, yeah, this is a case number. I need to speak with the duty manager because I'm not getting the right response. Sometimes if you can speak with the engineer who's assigned to it to have a clarity on the understanding. So you may be looking at something, the engineer might be looking at something. If that is the case, yeah, speak with the support NSC to get it clarified. Or if you feel it is a managerial level escalation, which you need a duty manager to be assisting you or guiding you or set the right process in place, then always call in and speak with the duty manager. So we do have the named contacts in other packages, which I don't want to go through on that, but you'll have the information when I share it and go through. So this is kind of my last slide, where there are some common questions raised to support. We have seen it always comes related to vulnerabilities. For CVEs, yes, we will have a knowledge article available. So security advisory will be released for most of the CVEs. It's there. If always check in a knowledge article for the CVEs, that's the same information even the engineer has. So if you call the engineer and say, hey, what is the CVE, what's the mitigation, we will also guide you to the same knowledge article, what is available in our site. There might be some CVEs with no security advisory. Feel free to raise it with the details of the CVEs. We will look internally, we'll escalate to our engineering team, security team, and get back to you with those details. And we have seen a lot of scanner tools related suggestions that you run. Some customer runs a scanner tool, some Nessus or a lot of other scanners, and it gives like a list of suggestions on hardening the device, disable this port, change this header, change that, and those kind of things. That's something is out of scope of support. So it is a responsibility of FI admin who's managing the device. We do have a lot of articles in our knowledge base which guide you in certain direction on what you can do, what you cannot do. You can raise with specific queries on any guidance, but you cannot expect support to do it for you on hardening the device. So if you are looking for something like that, then PS Professional Services is the right one who can do the assessment and fix all the pointers provided by the security tool on hardening the device. And we do get a lot of questions related to upgrade versions, like which version is a stable version, what to upgrade to. Again, that is not a suggestion support will provide. We always say whichever version you are in, go to the latest maintenance release of that version. And that's the best suggestion we can give. Or if it is a bug, we provide a bug fix. Then we say, okay, this bug is fixed in so-and-so version or engineering hotfix. You go for it. But rest of the decision is based on your setup, which you know very well, and also the customer requirements, and you need to decide on which one to choose for. I covered the other points in the previous proactive part. Request for availability during upgrade as a standby resource. We won't be available for a call or remote as a standby. However, you follow the upgrade steps, you run into a problem, you can call in and use the proactive case number and say, hey, I'm in maintenance window, I've started the upgrade, I got stuck in so-and-so, it is giving this error, or configuration is not loading. Those kind of things you can give, and then we will have an next engineer available to assist you further on that. New configurations, as I mentioned, we provide available document, general guidance, reasonable effort. If anything more is needed, then we will guide to the professional service team. Okay, so that's all from me. I've just put all the PDFs for reference here, which I'll share it off. Any questions? Maybe I would have rushed on a few things, but if you have any questions, let me know. Or once you review the slide, you can make a note and reach out to Raghav, and we can clarify those questions as
well. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, if no further questions, I'll hand over this to Shripal, who can take you through a couple of repeated issues and working with.
Thank you, Balaji. Just a one query.
Yes.
Suppose during the operation an intermittent issue observed for the client, and he raised the ticket, and Teams call started for the troubleshooting, for the live troubleshooting, and we involved all the OEMs. Okay, one of the OEM is FI as well. So if the call is extended and the FI engineer shift is ending, so how can, and it's a P3 case. So how can we reassign to the next engineer?
Okay. So normally for intermittent issues, we always provide the plan of action and say, see, this is the data to be collected when the issue is happening. Okay. And remote joining on the remote and sitting there when the issue happens and collecting the data is not normally we do. So if it is a live issue, ongoing issue, it's a side down issue, yes, we will definitely help you out. But if it's an intermittent issue, we give the plan of actions and we tell them, okay, so when you start seeing the issue, you run this commands, run this capture. And once you stop the issue, then stop it and then provide us with these data. Then we'll review and get back to you with our analysis. So that is the approach we normally follow. If it is a very critical issue and multi-vendors are involved and the engineer is on the call, generally you can ask them to do a warm handover to the next region based on the impact, I would say. It's purely based on the impact, what's the criticality and occurrence, frequent occurrence, if the issue is occurring very frequently, like 5 minutes once or 15 minutes once. And those kind of things, we can definitely ask for the engineer to do a warm handover to the next region to continue the troubleshooting so that he can join in from the other region and he can drop off and they can continue further.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so it's 40 minutes in my time. So I'll leave it for Shripal to take over and start his presentation. If you have any questions, make a list of it, and I'll also share this slides, go through the slides, any queries you come up after those slides, or discuss with your other partners who are not in the training or the challenges what they are facing. Have a list of it and then share it across to Raghav, and we can take it offline. I'll reply with my answers on those things. Thank you. Over to you, Shripal.
Yeah, thanks, Balaji. Hello everyone, good morning. Myself Shripal Reddy Kumbam, currently working as a network support engineer, and I will be working on LTM and ASM modules for the cases. So let me share my screen and start. So I hope you are able to see my screen. So basically, in this presentation, I would be taking you to the very common issues what as a big IP admin you may encounter for LTM and ASM both the modules, and what are the logs needs to be collected, what are the logs as a support will request you, what are the things you can check and update to us. So first part of the slides would be focusing on the LTM. The second part of the slides would be focusing on ASM, and at the last we can take if you have any further question and answers for that. So I have listed down the very common issues which we face with respect to device level, as high CPU, high memory disk space kind of thing, and hardware, and also network level things like VIP cannot be accessible, pull down, slowness issue, and SSL communication. So I would be taking one by one point in next coming slides, and I would be telling what kind of logs we can collect to troubleshoot those issues. So first is high CPU and high memory. So generally, whenever you raise a support case, right? So would be asking, or first we have to identify how did we got to know the issue. Is it from the monitoring tool? We have configured any SNMP monitoring where it has notified us that there is a high CPU, or did we review it on the big IP device, or did we get any alert from the device saying there is a consistent high CPU utilization? Okay, so whenever whenever you get alert from the third party, right, always ensure verify on the device to see whether if it is reflecting the same, or it is reporting false positive. If it is same and you are seeing these issues on the device as well, you can create a support case and upload the QKView logs. And whenever you common mistake I see, right, when customers report this high CPU issue, sometimes they refer the dashboard part. So we don't suggest you to refer the dashboard part to check the device performance stats. Reason being, dashboard utility itself consumes a lot of CPU utilization, and other thing is a dashboard displays the CPU with the live data. But what we collect in the logs save is per 5 to 10 samples per second, which is an average of that. So we always suggest you to recommend refer the part under the configuration utility of statistics performance reports, where you would be getting the system statistics to check the overall system CPU utilization, memory utilization, and then also you will be having an options to check the different levels like control plane CPU, system data plane CPU, and analytics plane CPU. Would be also getting an options to review like what is the traffic coming in, new requests coming in. And also other part we have to get the details is how did this issue started happening? Is it like did we onboarded any new applications which caused us seeing this high CPU or high memory issues, or did we see any sudden spike in the traffic, or consistently are we seeing it, or it happened only once? Suppose this issue has been observed only once and not occurring anymore, you can collect the QKView file and inform the support team about the timestamps of the issue, what you have seen, and you can let us know so that we can review it further to see whether it's expected, or do we have to do any resource alignment and not all accordingly. We'll let you know. But if in case you are like onboarding many new applications and that requires optimization of the complete device, as Balaji said, you might have to go to PS team so that they will recommend you the resources what needs to be allocated for the device. So the article which I have attached is overview of a big IP memory usage. It will give you the details of what is swap, what are the other memories are there in picture, and how what the working behavior of the big IP with respect to the memory. So the bottom one is the other common issues what we get is disk space. Many times we get requests saying that customers would be seeing disk space alerts on the console when they open the CLI, right? They get array is 90% full, or this particular directory is 80% full. Continuously they see the alert. Other part is during the upgrades also they may see the upgrade failures because of the disk space. So whenever we see a disk space alert things, a very common command which you can use is df space -h to see which directory is consuming the space. Is it var or any other directories on that? So the other two commands which I have listed, the first one is to see in overall device, what are the 20 largest files which are occupying more space. So you can run the command, it will list one by one. Then you can see if that file is not related, you can remove it. Else, if it's all needed, then accordingly you can engage the support. But this command output will not be captured in the QK view. So that's why we suggest you to check it on the device itself to see what are the 20 largest files. The bottom command gives us the data of the 20 largest folders, not the files. So which are the folder in the directory is consuming the highest memory on the disk space, and that will give us the data. So based on that, we can review the files and we can proceed with the deletion if not needed. Apart from this, whenever you raise support case, right? Support will definitely ask you to provide QK view, TCP dump, or the other memory dump logs, and also core crash, also one of the thing which occupies more space. So if in case the support case is resolution is already done, if those logs are not needed anymore, so we always suggest you to clear those files if not needed, because those existing files on the device will consume a lot of space. So in future, if you are going to collect the data again, you might see this disk space issues. So always clear the logs when not needed, like older PCAPs, older QKView files, older UCS files, older core crash files which not needed. So the bottom of the article which I have attached, maintaining the disk space on the big IP, will give you the more information of how to handle the big IP memory, that is a disk space, and it will give you the commands and the troubleshooting guide it will have to further troubleshoot. So the next very common is high availability. So high availability, so it may be active, passive, or how many nodes it is configured in the DSC. So whenever we ask, right, we always expect to provide the logs from all the devices when if it is like failover kind of an issue or sync kind of an issue, because one device logs, if we get, we will not be able to determine what is happening on the other device, because it is the connectivity between the two or multiple devices configured in HA, right? So always provide the QK view from all the devices. Suppose if it is for unexpected failover, right? And as soon as you identify, you got to know that the failover had got triggered, it's always best to collect the QK view files as well as the tarball logs. Why tarball logs? Because QK view file, all the logs, sometimes logs might get truncated due to the file size and the top. It might not capture all the logs. So that's why we suggest the tarball logs. How to collect those details will be added in the next coming slides. But please make a note of timestamp of the issue, when it got triggered, and also collect the logs as soon as possible before it is overwritten, because the issue had happened like 5-6 days back, and then you have collected the logs after 5-6 days. We would not be able to do research or analysis on what went wrong at that particular time. And yeah, sync related, one of the reason could be NTP, but yes, we have to get the logs, and we have to see what error we are seeing on both the devices. Is it the same? And then we have to see. So the two articles which I have attached, again, the troubleshooting guides for config sync when it is in device cluster and troubleshooting the failover events. So we would be requiring QK view files as well as the tarball logs to troubleshoot the issue. If in case needed any other things, we would be asking again. The next thing is the unexpected system reboot. We would not expect system to be rebooted, but if in case sometimes happens because of the core, core crash means if any system is not able to do any processes and then it got crashed, so it will generate a file called core in the var/core directory. Okay, generally it would be a huge file weighing around 2 GB to 6 to 8 GB also. So if in case we when you go to iHealth, right, on the diagnostics also, you would be able to see that if in case any core got triggered on the device in past at any time. Apart from that, if we see, then we would be asking you to upload the core file. So along with the core file, we would be also asking you to upload the MD5 checksum. Why is it? Because the file size is huge, 2 GB to I said 6 GB or 8 GB. Sometimes the complete file will not get uploaded to the portal. It no, after 1 GB it gets stopped something. So with that half file or a small file, we will not be able to investigate what went wrong. So that's the reason we would be needing the complete file as well as the checksum to validate if the complete file got uploaded or not. So how to manage those core files will be added in this document. You can just upload it. And also when you upload the core files, right, we have to have the QK view covering this core file generated event. Suppose yesterday core file got generated, you can collect a QK view which covers the yesterday logs as well. Just core file might not help us to investigate if the relevant logs will not be available, because what led to become the system crash will not be available. So once we got the core files, we will be doing further investigation to see if it because of any known issue or if it's any new known issue, we will be investigating, and accordingly we can let you know the next plan of action. So coming to NTP, NTP as I said, it's important. So we as a FI recommend to configure 3 NTP servers as a minimum. Because of NTP also HA sync could happen because both the devices are not syncing with the NTP and they are with a different time, and they'll not be able to sync and push the data properly. With respect to NTP, always ensure whenever we have a command called NTP Q-NP, which is available in the article again. With that, you will be able to know what exactly issue we are seeing, whether NTP is reachable, what state it is an initial state or not. Then accordingly, you can ensure as admin, you can ensure from the big IP, the NTP server is reachable on the port 123. So on both the devices, you can ensure, and then the reachability is there. You are able to see that NTP is syncing between the devices, but you are still facing some issues. Then you can definitely engage us. The below article will help you to collect the data as I said, packet captures and the NTP, and the QKV file is needed for every issue. So the other very common issue is upgrade failures. As Balaji said before, F5 support will not be able to recommend a version for customers. The reason being every customer setup is different. The features one customer is using might not be used by the same features will not be used by the other customers, right? So until a bug fix, that means a known issue is there or a CVE fix, we will not be able to recommend a version. We would suggest you to go through the release notes of that. Apart from that, whenever you choose an upgrade, you also have to choose a review whether your platform supports that particular version and what is that upgrade path you're going for. Suppose you're on 15, can you go to directly 17 or 16? We can get that information from the article. So yeah, apart from that, we'll not be able to do. So common issues what you may encounter during the upgrade failure is disk space issue again, as I said, because already VAR is of 70 or 80% full. So when you're trying to upload the image ISO file to the device, it will not be successful. It will fail saying there is no enough space. Always ensure we have enough disk space on the device to copy the file and successfully to upgrade the device. Another common mistakes customer does is they don't do license reactivation. If in case every version will have during the upgrade, right, it will validate whether when was the last time that license got reactivated. If that date is not falling into that particular period, after upgrade will happen, but configurations will not load later. And you would be seeing a banner on the GUI saying that license got not reactivated. So just go to the license page and click on reactivate, and as normal you do, right? Get the dossier and go to the FI portal and upload, or if you have internet connectivity, you can directly click on activate the license. So another thing is configuration load failure. Sometimes after upgrade, you see that configuration doesn't load, all the configuration doesn't display, or upgrade configuration not displayed with some error. So there's a clear message loads is config verifies the command, which you can run on the CLI. What it does is it will try to load the configuration. It's just a verify, it will not impact anything. It will just give us where exactly the configuration is failing. It will give us the error. So this output, you can share it with us. We can check. Else you can, search in the askfi.com as well with the error. Definitely, you would be getting the search-related articles. But yes, as I said, right, you would be getting to know which parameter or which object is causing the issue. Accordingly, you can share the output with us. So another thing is UCS collection. So whenever you go for upgrade, right, we always suggest customer to take it UCS before, not only upgrade, any activity which you are going to perform in device, because something goes wrong, right? We always have a device backup to restore it and make it normal as working. So sometimes there would be a situations, right? With the current version, it works fine. The moment you upgrade the device, you started seeing a new issue. So to identify whether this is any new known issue on the device, always collect QKView and the UCS file before upgrade. Once you upgrade the device during the maintenance window, when the issue is replay visible, you can collect a packet captures or the logs, what is happening, and then the screenshots, and then the UCS and the QKView as well. Because this will help us to identify what went wrong during that particular time. Because once you roll back and once you engage us, right, we would not be able to know what went wrong at that particular time. Either if in case there's a possible to engage the support engineer at that time only, yes, you can engage us. Else collect these logs and share it with us so that we can review and let us know what next plan of action can be taken to fix that issue in future. So the bottom of the article will give you the information of how to collect the UCS backup and how to restore it. Very common thing with customers come up with. So backup and the restoring. So you will have an option to under the system, you will have an option to archives. You can go there and you can click on generate UCS archive. So it will have an option to generate it using keys or private keys or not, which captures the SSL keys. Okay. Then once the file got generated, the file size will be huge again based on the device configuration. You will have an option to download it. Else, there is a way to download from the WinSCP as well. That information will be covered in the bottom of the article. So apart from that, if in case it's a hardware, we do get requests based on PSUs, like suppose PSU is down, PSU2 is down. So during those kind of situations, right, we would always suggest you to check the status of the LED on the PSC, whether it is red, green, based on that. And also please check related to the power source, whether power cards inserted to the PSC are good and power source is also good, and with the same thing, with the same power source, you're not able to see issues with other PSUs. Just have to ensure that other things are good. And also you can try resetting the power supply. You can just remove and reinsert again just to ensure that still issue is seen and only issue with the PSU. Then and also there is a platform check command utility which is available on the some of the big IP platforms. If you can run that, which is a not impacting the command, you just run the platform check command. This will generally do a device health check for PSU drives and some of the cell utilities and that all, and it will give you the information whether the PSU health check is passed or failed, and which PSU is it, PSU1 or PSU2. Based on that, it will give you the information. This platform check utility would be, you can run to get the overall system level status, and that it will display overall system is pass or fail. Because we do get a lot of requests saying, could you please review and let us know if the system health is good or not. We would not be able to do again because we don't know what is the customer, how was it working before also, right? Whether it has issues in past or not now. And when you just say system health, we would not be known only it's hardware related or it's related to the VIPs, pool members and that all. So if you need complete device assessment to see whether it is good in condition, optimization and everything, as Balaji said, you can always reach out to PS team. But if you only wanted to know about this PSU, HDD or other things, you can use this platform check utility, or there is a EUD, which we said, but it requires a reboot and that all. But that will give you the overall system health information and what went wrong and that. So that detailed information is available on the EUD article. Apart from that, we do get a request saying that we don't have the device access like GUI access or CLI access. Then engineer would, support engineer would be asking you, what is the status of the LED? What is the status of LCD screen? Do we see any errors on that? Because based on those errors, we can suggest you what can be done. And also, please try to ensure we have console access to the device when we don't have management access to the configuration utility and the CLI, because through console, then we can see what's going on the device and then we can troubleshoot. Based on that, engineer can take further actions. As I said, if in case you see any interface related issues, again, LEDs is one which gives us information. We cannot directly conclude if it's a interface or the cable issue directly because it deals with the peer device. Try to ensure like plugging the cable to the other ports and ensure that cable is fine, and peer end also ensure that same is fine. And then we can, with the further troubleshooting, we can come to a conclusion with, say, port issue or the cable issue or the SFP issue. So this is all one set of issues what we see. Apart from that, a general network related issues what we see is we get statements like issue related to VIP is down or cannot access the website or application is down. So when we get right, so we need to get more information on what exactly happening. So when VIP is down, is it the status shows offline or is it still available? What is the corresponding pool member status? Is it up or down? Whether do we have any monitor configured? As you know, monitor state shows the status of the pool, whether it is up, reachable or not. Yeah. Again, we should have a clear description about this. When we say application is down, the website is down, and also as an admin, we have to you have to ensure when the client is sending a request, whether is it reaching the big IP or not. If yes, are we passing the same response to the backend and getting that? Because as you know, big IP acts like a reverse proxy. So we get the response. Apart from we don't have any I rules or policy, right? We don't really tweak anything. So we just send the response back to the application server based on the pools configured, and the response given by the application server, we will give it to the client. So that's where we suggest whether the same application works fine bypassing the web. When you say bypassing the web, not saying that completely removing from the network. If you can access the same application from the backend server application network, right, from any host which is in the same network, are we seeing the same issue with respect to slowness or the whip down or something, or if application is throwing some error, right? So first thing we can check is directly accessing the pool member. Are we seeing the same behavior or the behavior is changing? That will isolate issues with the big IP or the application server. First, you can check with the application team on the behavior, and then accordingly you can engage. You can check on the big IP. So, as I said, common issues would be this and the slowness issue. Even next slide's covering about the packet captures and that all. So, for slowness related issues, we should have a packet captures collected. If in case you can collect a simultaneous packet captures on client, big IP, and the backend server, that will help us a lot. Because overall, you might see a slowness issue, but we don't know which device is causing the issue, right? Because there will be a number of network devices throughout the packet flow. So we have to see when you directly access the backend server also, what are the devices involved? When big IP is coming in picture, what are the devices involved? Through the packet captures, we need to see whether are we receiving the response with a delay, or big IP is taking delay to process the request, or is it something happening at the backend? With respect to SSL communications, we do see issues, queries like cipher update, protocol update, certificate update. You will definitely get an articles, or support team can definitely share an article if you wanted to know the procedure of how to update the SSL profiles and that all. But sometimes do we get issues like SSL VIP is not accessible after certificate VIP, something is not working. We should have the packet captures, decrypted packet captures, to see what's going wrong. And also we need to get the information like, did we do any changes with respect to ciphers, SSL protocol, certificate, not only on the big IP, also on the client side. Did we disable any old cipher support, or did we disable any old protocol support, which is late, which led to cause this issue? So again, packet captures will help us to review what's going wrong. So these are about the LTM common issues what we encounter. So next comes the logs collection part. As I said, there could be two. One is packet captures, and again another is the QK view. QK would be coming.
Sorry, if we have anyone has any queries on the topics discussed so far, I think we can stop and have a check, because I think we have other lot of things, right? Packet captures and ASM. So,
okay.
We understand it is a short notice, short time, and we are covering a lot of things. But you have any specific questions on the topics? Please feel free to let us know so that we can explain or can explain on there. Or any of the topics which you have covered so far on the repeated issues. If you have any questions on what other things to check, or you need some more clarity on something.
Suppose we are getting an alert for high utilization of control plane or data plane. So from our side, how can we check the top talkers, which applications or which IPs are causing the issue?
See, I mean, again, right, we would not be able to tell exactly about the IPs level. You have to see IPs level, what is the throughput is coming. So we would be coming to the same basic questions, right? First, like how exactly happened? Do you see the overall utilization of the device? Because if one VIP is also taking, high traffic is coming, right? Overall throughput of the device utilization will definitely alter, correct? And also the new request coming to the VIP also alters. Again, as I said, there are three things. One is control plane, data plane, and analysis plane. Analysis plane is for something like general AVR process which runs for the data collection will consume. Control plane is for the management related stuff, mainly would be focusing on data plane, as well as the overall utilization. So you need to see whether application side any changes got done, or did we expect that one particular any peak traffic for any particular application, and we don't have enough resources on the device, which led to utilize all the resources hosted on the device. Suppose normal traffic would be for that particular device is like around 10%, and suddenly if you got 60% traffic to the same device, right? It is expected to go the high CPU. It is not expected. It is expected. But what we have to ensure next is whether the 60% is going to be consistent. If yes, do we have to allocate more resources to this particular host or not? Because in this perspective, we cannot say it's an issue, right? Because traffic has increased. So accordingly, resources needs to be allocated. It's not an issue. Issue is for the same amount of traffic coming 10% only, and the same level of activities are going. Suddenly the utilization went high without anything. That's where we can say it's an issue. Any memory leak is going, or any process is consuming suddenly, or what went wrong. So in that perspective, we would be further investigating.
Okay.
And top is the output which shows as normal Linux troubleshooting, right? Top will show, but again, seeing the top as more than 100% doesn't validate as an issue here, because here with respect to big IP only, again, it depends on number of cores. Suppose you have 5 cores, so top utilization might show till 500%. So it is only with respect to big IP. So again, as I said, right, if you suddenly see drastic utilization without of any much changes in the network side, you can always engage us and provide us the details. So we as the support engineers would be helping you further to investigate.
Okay, thank you.
any other questions anyone has about the issues? As I said, this is only like just common issues. Apart from this, the issues listed, you might see other issues also, and based on that, engineers would be recommending you. If you have no further queries, we can proceed with the slides, and end of the complete slide also we can take for question and answers again.
Okay. Okay.
Sure. So next part is with respect to the logs collection. So from 15 packet captures, particularly with respect to logs. So packet captures is needed, as I said, what's going wrong, whether are we resetting the connection or for various network related issues, packet captures is the best way to troubleshoot, and it will clearly show who is causing an issue with respect to IP. So from 15.0.0, we have this DB variable called --FISSL, which got introduced. So traditionally, we use whenever we want to decrypt the SSL packet captures, right? So we used to configure an iRule on iRule, and we used to attach that particular iRule to the virtual server. Then we run the tcpdump command to do a packet captures, and then we run another sed command to push those particular keys, SSL keys, to a file, which would be sharing, which you would be sharing with the support team to decrypt it. But with FISSL, yes, you can, that very first article which is attached, right? It would be containing in that information. With that, you can capture a single packet captures, and you can share it with the support team, and support team will review, and we can, and not only support team, as an admin, you also have to review what's going wrong. In the packet captures, if you see something suspicious from the big IP, then definitely, yes, you can engage the support team. So first article explains you about the collecting the packet captures, decrypted packet captures with FISSL DB variable. And the second thing explains you about the iRule configuration. So yeah. And I have given that these two commands generally just to differentiate the general TCP commands what we use, and for the data related traffic and the management related traffic. Okay, the first one is for data related, because we have selected here 0.0, which is for all interfaces, and NNP. What happens is whenever you collect the packet captures for the front end, right? As you know, the general, if SNAT is enabled, packet flow happens is when client initiates the request, it will communicate from the client IP to the virtual IP, virtual server IP. Then another set of communication happens between the big IP SNAT to the backend pool. So whenever we run the packet captures, right, when we use this P variable, variable, so whenever we run the packet captures for the VIP IP or the client IP, it will also captures the corresponding connections to the backend, big IP to the backend. So we can know when the client is sending the request, the same is being passed to the backend or not, whether the backend is resetting any connections, which we are passing it to the client. Not only the reset, any application response or application side errors, whether are we passing it to the client or not, can be known. The second command is for MGMT. I have used, you can use Ethernet 0 if you know that, if it is using for sure. It is for if you wanted to do a packet captures for the management traffic. So generally, as we know, SNMP, syslog traffic will be configured using the management routes, right? If in case you wanted to do a packet captures for that, you can use the interface for management. So the commands generally writes the files to var tmp folder with the name file.pcap. You can change the name whatever you want. After host, the IP is whether the destination or the client IP or the VIP IP you can use. Even for the management, it based on the troubleshooting what you're doing. If it is for syslog, you can use the syslog IP. If in case NTP IP you can use, and you can capture it. So this, when you run this command, it will do a packet captures for the amount of time and save it in the file. And another thing what you have to ensure whenever you're running for packet captures is a time, resource intensive things. So it consumes a lot of CPU and the other parameters also. So you also have to see how much of amount of the traffic is coming to the device. If the traffic is low, and if you run for 10 minutes also, if the capture is not like 10 MB, 20 MB, yes, you can do it. But for some huge devices, right, as a VCMP chassis or the big devices, even standalone hardware, the amount of throughput, device handling throughput would be high, like 1 GB, 2 Gbps. So So packet captures, anyway, we filter with the IPs also. Just ensure we are not collecting more than 1 GB of file. Okay, because even if you collect 1 GB of file, other thing is we will not be able to decrypt it our end also. Collect a small file filtered. If in case you want specifically, you can apply for filter for client as well as VIP also. After host, you can space IP or again host. Try to use as much of filters and then collect it. So the bottom of the articles will give you the overview of packet tracing, right? It will give you more details on what kind of filters you can use, what is the necessity of that particular filter, what will be done with that filter. It will give you complete overview of the TCP dump utility on the big IP. And the bottom of the article again, which gives more information on how to use the FISSL DB variable and collect the packet captures, and how can you open it on a Wireshark to see the L7 packets, application layer data, how to see that would be explained in the bottom of the article. And when yeah. And so the packet captures is one thing, as I said, for any slowness, VIP not working or traffic is not coming, resets, application related errors, anything, packet captures is suggested. So then comes the device QK view. As Balaji said before, it's a snapshot of what device collects major things, what it is needed to troubleshoot any kind of an issue. So overview it will collect, and it will help support engineers to overall to review how is it behaving. So you can generate it from the configuration utility by navigating to system support, new support snapshot. There you have an option to generate it. So once it's generated, you will have an option to download it there itself. Else, if the device is having an internet connectivity, you have an option to upload it to iHealth, then direct itself. Else you can download it and using your credentials, you can upload it to the iHealth portal or secure file portal to pass it to us. If in case you wanted to generate the QK view from the CLI, you can use the basic command as QK view or also works, or QK view -S0. This will generate the QK view file and save the file in var tmp QK views folder. If you wanted to know more about the filters, even with the QKV, we have some filters available. So if you wanted to know what is the size you wanted to limit, and the other, if you wanted to skip some data and that all, so there's some generic article available for generating diagnostics data using QK utility. You can refer this article and collect it. So the next part is the tarball logs. As I said, right, it's an overview. QKV is a utility which collects the device overall data. If in case the log size is very high and if it's not able to collect, right, so sometimes logs will be truncated. So those, it will, the QKV logs will not help support engineers to review it completely. So in that case, we would suggest you to collect the tarball logs. So when you run this command, right, tar space -cvzdef, so this command will generate a tarball logs of, it will zip all complete var log directory files. It will zip it and save it in a var tmp folder with the name as host name. With the device host name, there will be a file called a file saved. You can download it using WinSCP and you can share it with us. So if this covers the issue time, so we can review what are the events got triggered, we can check and we can let you know. As I said, right, QK view, as Balaji said, it's always suggested to upload it to iHealth, because you as an admin by himself can review what's happening on the device. So they can know overall status of the device. They can review the graphs and logs, other things. If they suspect anything going wrong, then they can engage the F5. So apart from device QK view and the packet captures, we all, based on the situations, we may also ask you to upload the client browser logs. So client browser logs is like HR, HTTP archive files. Normally we say as developer tool logs, right? So you can press F12 and the detailed procedure on how to collect is given in the article. You can press F12 and enable preserve logging, and you try to reproduce the issue. It will capture all the client side things. You may use the traditional browsers as Chrome, Edge, Firefox. Else, if you have any client-side applications like Fiddler or HTTP Watch, that also does capturing your application traffic. So how to do this captures is given in that article. As I said, again, why do we need this? To see what's going on the client side. There could be sometimes inoperability issues between cookies, or some Java errors would be seen on the client, right? Because of that, application doesn't load properly. So to validate those kind of things, these would be needed. And also at what time the request has triggered. And whenever you are trying to do packet captures, right, always try to do the simultaneous. Like the moment you enable the client side browser HR logins, then at the same time try to do your packet captures on the big IP, and at the same time then do the packet captures on the backend server, so that we can compare at the same time what's happening. When the client has sent a request, at what time they have sent request, what request they have sent, whether the same was passed, and are we seeing any client side errors. The request itself is not getting triggered from the client side, but client is generating the request, but it is not reaching the big IP. That means, is it getting discarded at in between middle? So these all can be validated when you do a simultaneous packet captures. So even in the ASM, we would be telling about HER, but the same thing, we would need a client-side packet captures to further validate the issue. So again, the bottom of the article, which is a very useful and generic article, which gives a lot of information on gathering the information whenever you see a traffic impact change. Like the article will explain you about how to collect a QKView, UCS, packet captures, what are the things needs to be collected, which will help support to further investigate the issue. So till here, the LTM is done. If you have any further queries, we can discuss here, else we can take it off that, because we have some slides to cover from here. Okay, so I'll cover the ASM slides as well. Then I will wait for some time for any question and answers for both together with LTM and ASM. Accordingly, I can address myself or our team can address. So very common type of ASM issues, what we as an admin, you may say is, the same thing is listed here, request violation, like you are seeing any alarm or blocked event, anything getting notified, or like module level, like saying high CPU utilization only because of the ASM policy or something, or signatures are not getting updated, or browser challenges are not getting updated, or any other utilities what available for the ASM is not getting updated automatically, or certain logs are not available. Client is getting the support ID, but not getting visible on the logs to further troubleshoot. This can be. Another thing is attack related. Again, I would be discussing one by one point next, and the slowness issues caused by the WAF. So issues related to the request violation or the blocked event, right? As you know, event logs the main source. We can identify what's going wrong. Which of the ASM parameter, is it a configuration related, or is it any signature which is blocking the request? So based on the event log, we can review it, and we might need to adjust that particular configuration parameter. And also when these things happens regularly, because it's a security, right? And application team updates their application site regularly. They might add new features, they might remove some features, they might add some data to that, or so these all, whenever there is an application related changes in the server, accordingly, if the fine tuning of the policy is not being done, even with the working policy, you might encounter the issue. So here, the coordination between the big IP admin with the application team needs to be there. For any changes they do at the application site, corresponding changes needs to be done. Else they may encounter an issue. And generally, as I say, you can put into learning suggestion for some time, and based on the learning suggestions, you can push it, and then you can work it. So for any issues, we work on blocked event or violation. The main logs which would be needing is, I would be covering the log type of logs collected, but ASM policy and the event logs are must. It needs to be exported, and the formats I'll be explaining again, because these will give us the information, and the ASM QKView. These will give us the information about what's going wrong, and accordingly we can do. And other thing is, as we said earlier, right? Fine tuning of the policy, optimization of the policy is needed. And majority of the different perspective, because as you know, ASM is a vast, which can be done from URLs, parameters, content. There are different things. If in case complete fine tuning of the policy is needed based on the application, from the support, we might not be able to do. You have to engage the PS team so that they can sit with you. They'll see what is the application, what is the technology they are using, what kind of request is expected. Accordingly, they can help you to do for you with this configuration. But yeah, as I said, if something is suddenly not working, always you can engage us. Second part is the ASM module related. ASM QK view will help us to review the ASM related logs. ASM QK view utility will collect the logs related for the ASM information that will help us to review. And audit, and apart from that, as I said, auto live updates, right? Signature updates and other things. QKV will have the details on the live updates, signature updates file.logs and live update.logs. From that, we'll get to know if system is facing any issues to connect internet to the F5 site. So that we will be doing. If in case needed, support team will definitely ask you to do a packet captures to isolate what is being wrong. And sometimes if proxy is coming in between also, that will also cause some issues. You can always remove the proxy. When I say management to the public internet, if proxy is coming in picture, then you can bypass it and see if it still works. If not, then you can always engage the support. Then attack related issues, like there are two things generally. If you are under attack, right? So normally, and you are using ASM and you don't know what to do, if you're still under attack and you need immediate assistance on that. So you can engage F5 support team. While you're creating the case, you have to put the reason for contact as security related and cause is ESRP. Emergency security response team. So for that moment, what best we can do, support team will be able to help you to see whether the requests are coming from malicious IPs, not expected thing. For that moment, if we can configure any I rule or some policy and to mitigate for that, what best we can do, we will be able to help. Later, we would be engaging you to our consent team so that they'll help you to build the proper solution for your setup and they can further assist you on that. So for any issue, as I said, ASM QK view policy packet captures are needed, at least to see what's happening. How much amount of traffic suddenly got increased? What are the basic things? What are the things configured in the policy? Is it, are we not using the things which are mandatory needs to be used or not? And the packet captures will give us from which sources, which public IPs the traffic is coming. Is it from not intended sources like some countries, not intended countries, or is it a genuine traffic? That will help us to do the investigation. For slowness issue, so as I said, right, here LTM and ASM both are there. ASM as a policy, we bind it to a virtual server of LTM, then we use it, right? So if in case we need to identify issues with the LTM policy only, or it's a normal working behavior with virtual web, you can try disabling the policy under the virtual server and see if the issue is still occurring. If the issue is still seen even after removing the ASM policy, then we can conclude it's not an ASM issue. It could be a normal, it could be troubleshooted as a general LTM slowness issue. But then this can be worked by any LTM engineer and normally can be worked. But if in case issue is not seen without issues not seen without LTM ASM policy, only with ASM policy issue is coming, then ASM engineer will take over it and work on it. This is the basic test if you can do, right? That will help us with the more information so that we can shift our focus to ASM related stuff, not considering about the general of the device level. We can focus on ASM and we can review what policies or what is causing exactly, and accordingly we can suggest you. So logs required here, ASM QK view, as I said, there's a difference between normal QK view and ASM QK view. ASM QK view will gather more information related to the ASM stuff, which normal QK would not do. So whenever you create any case for the ASM issue or the AFF issue, always try to collect the ASM QK view. And don't use, we don't have an option to generate the ASM QK view from the GUI. Always use CLI to generate it. There are 3 commands given, again, based on the situation we use it. So first command is the nice -19, right? So generally we can use this command when you're already highly utilized when you think that running QKView also will impact some ongoing production or something, then you can do it in, because it will do a silent QKView collection. When the resource consumption is less, it will collect it, but it will take some time. It will not get generated immediately, but it will do. But apart from the second and third commands you can use normally, so which will generate the QKView with the host name and the date. And the third last command is that it will not have any limit. So sometimes what happens is we have to try to do a repro in internal setup with your policy. We have to extract, right? So ASM QKView also, if the configuration, if the policies are very high, like some customers will have hundreds of policies, right? QKView might not capture all of those things. It will skip it. So if we don't have to skip it and we have to get the complete data, support team might ask you to upload the QKView using the last command, because then it will capture the ASM underscore module.xml file, which contains the all ASM related policy stuff for the device. Once we get it, we can review it for the policy and we can check it. So whenever you provide these details, right, ASM QKView and other details, we also need information of the objects involved, like what is the VIP involved, what is the policy configured, because if you just get the QKView, we will not be able to understand for which VIP, right? You might have 100 VIPs. So we need to know for which policy or which VIP is having an issue. So that's about QKView. The second thing is policy. Always export the policy in XML. If you go to application security policy list, you will have an option to export it XML, because once you upload the policy, right, once we get the policy, then we can import it to our devices and see what are the policy configurations done. So accordingly, we can review it offline once we get the data. Accordingly, we can suggest you the next plan of action directly, instead of going on call and you showing us the policies, parameters, reviewing it one by one parameter. So it will help us to review us by ourselves only when you provide us the data. Event log, export it in a HTML format, because what happens is sometimes we get screenshots of the event log instead of uploading the complete event log, which will not help us to review all the parameters, right? So when you export it to navigate into event logs, application security, upload the event log, then we can see what is the request, what are the headers containing in the request, what is being blocked, what is the reason for the block, what is the enforcement configured for it. And based on that, we can review and we can check. And HR output, I have already said, told you how to collect it. It's the same, particularly when bot, DOS, or ASM in picture, right? We might see these cookie-related interoperability things, because ASM itself, bot itself, they insert some cookies to validate the user identity, whether the same user is coming or not. When they're repeatedly coming, the client is changing, the device is changing. So to validate some amount of stuff, they insert some cookies. If issue is caused by those cookies, or if the cookies are passed or not, to validate these steps, HR logs will be required. So then apart from HR, MySQL dumps, I would be explaining next how to collect those. So why MySQL dumps is in the GUI, when you go to the device under the event logs and the learning suggestions, you can see what learning suggestion has come for the request, what is the percentage of the recommendation we have given, how many event logs are there. But you cannot export those all events to us, right? We will not be able to see. So then if in case needed, then support team might ask you to do. So all these event logs will be copied in a MySQL dumps and saved it in a device. When you export and give it to us, so that we can have it imported and do it. If not us, if we have to engage our internal teams, right, product engineering team, so something is going wrong in that all, we can share these relevant dumps with the team. If you don't have the details, we will not be able to proceed further from our side as well. So that's where we request, often request details before even joining the call, because once we get the data, we can have some preparation from our side also. So we can review the data and accordingly we can engage. So then the Tarba logs, as I said, same thing. If in case not truncated, this will help us to gather. So bottom two articles will help us, as I said, right, how to export an event log given in the article, how to export the policy given in that article. So most of the things you can get articles, how to export these all things, you can share it with us. So these are the MySQL dumps, which you can run it on the device. generally these are you're just copying the files to a folder. So it is not something traffic impacting or you're doing for the policy and that all. No, it's just that collecting those dump files, putting in a file, zip file. So then you can share it with us. So different files does different purposes. Some are for bot, DOS, and ASM, and also AVR logs to see what's happening, and the log DB. So instead of running those individual commands, you can use the single command also. So whenever we ask dumps, you can use these commands, or support team may give you the commands to run it. So it will not take much time to generate also. You can just enter one by one. So then each file gets saved in shared TMP folder with the name. You can copy and export, share, download using WinSCP and share with us. So particularly, when you review the graphs, right, performance give reports of the ASM device, particularly daily at a certain time, you see a peak going on, squared box you see. But just looking at that, you don't think something is going wrong because it is expected. There is a process called obfuscation process which runs on the device slowly. It's not something traffic impacted which runs by a control plane. Daily at a certain time, it does its own jobs to do. No need to worry about it. So basically, you have to worry when consistently all the time. If you're seeing high, then you might have to worry. So normally, if utilization is going high, so this is something expected. More information about is given in this. So if in case, as I said, right, daily for certain times, this goes high, so 1 2 hours or 4 hours something. If in case you wanted, and this also happens at night times based on the device configuration. If in case you wanted to change that duration also, there is a way to do that, which is given in that article, explains more into that. And yeah, you can always can get support if in case because of that, if you're facing some issues. So for bot related logs, you can use this command to generate events. This will copy that all events into the bot event.txt. Then you can review it. ASM QKV is the same thing which we run. And for bot events, right, you might not see an option. Again, for ASM, we have different versions as security is like advancement, right? So what you see the features in the 14 dot version, 15 dot, you might not see the options only because it could be a completely advanced. For 15 to 16, it is more. So you might not encounter see the same feature in the coming version. It could be different, 15 to 16, 16 to 17. You see a different options. Event logs, you might not see an option to export it. So what you can do is mainly you can take a screenshot of that particular event opening in a separate tab. Else you can download it from the browser page only for that particular support ID, so that we can see why is it getting blocked. Is it because of the client side a bot, something suspecting curl commands or something, or suspicious bot, or based on that we can further review. So this is about thing. Apart from that, a general Balaji had already covered this. Handling CVEs. There are two type of CVEs what we get. One thing is that the device is impacted with this particular CVE. So then you can always refer myfi.com or askfi, which will redirect you to this page. So you have a search button there. You can just give the CVE ID. It will give the relevant FI articles. You can refer that article. You can open that article and see if your TMOS version is affected or not. It will be given. And module wise also, it will give the data whether APM, ASM, Big IP, LTM or not. So you can see if your device is affected or not. If it is not affected, then you can ignore. If it is affected, then the fixed information will be given, whether do we have to upgrade the device or mitigation needs to be applied. Sometimes what happens is, even though articles are available, still customers will engage us asking us a written confirmation from that. Because it's no need for that, because article was published by FI itself, right? So whatever is published in the genuine FI article can be trusted. You can take it as a resolution. You can take it as a answer for that particular CV, and you can proceed with the mitigation given in that. But if in case you don't find that there is a new CVE came and there is no article available, how do you check? Is going to askfi.com, search with the CVE ID. Not only the FI articles, also dev central discussions, if anything is there, that will be displayed over there. If in case you don't find any relevant information for the CVID which you got, so then don't know what to do, then you can engage us saying that I have already searched, I didn't get the information, I wanted to get more information whether if this CVID is impacted or not. Other thing is CVE related signatures. So that is again scenario to scenario basis. For most of them, the signatures would be available. For some of them, signatures will not be available because the scope doesn't come. ASM, signature scope doesn't come, because if the if it is L4, L7 request, then we can do something. If it's L2 level or something, right, we would not be able to do something with the CVD signature protection, right? You can definitely raise a case with us, then we can see, we can check with our team and then let you know if that is possible or not and what can be done. And yeah, as Balaji said, device hardening things needs to be checked by yourself. You can definitely get an articles and proceed with the actions. And if you have any further queries on that, then definitely engage it. But you might not expect us to sit on a call and doing this hardenings for you, because we can share the information, we can do a break fix, but general guidance needs to be done by you. So exchanging files with the support, securefiles.fi.com is the portal. So where you can use your FI account, your username, email address, or the password, log into the portal, use your account details, case number, incoming folder. You can upload the data, like what are the QK views or the screenshots, the logs, everything you can share it over there. ihealth.fi.com, you can upload the QK view to review it by yourself. You can get to know the complete details of the device status, upgrade, end of software version, when was the reboot done, everything. You have a graphs and everything, you can review it there. And you can upload it to iHealth and share it with us also. Else you can share it with the secure files. And just letting you know, even we do with iHealth only. So when you upload the data, right, we don't have any separate tools to check it. So even we upload it to iHealth and we review the data, graphs by there, logs by from there only. Everything will be reviewed from the iHealth only, and then based on that we will let you know. So the bottom of the article will explain you with the step-by-step procedure on how to log into the FI portal and how to share the logs to us. So I might have taken a lot of time, but I hope covered most of the important points and the repeated issues what we get. Yeah, you can ask if you have any queries, concerns. Happy to assist you. And I will share this PPT with Balaji and with your team if needed accordingly.
Thanks, Shripal. So yeah, if you've got any questions, feel free to let us know. We've got another 15 minutes, so we can still go through a couple of things, explain if there are any clarification needed on those points.
Yeah, thank you, Srifal. Thank you for the session. I want to ask a query regarding QKV. There is some option. There are some option exclude audit file, core file, secure file, bash file. So if the QKV file is getting too much space, okay. So which file can be excluded from this?
See, by default, as I say, we would suggest you to upload the complete one. If in case we don't have the device space, right, we cannot tell directly, right, which logs are needed. It completely depends on the issue. So generally, we would suggest you to upload the complete file if possible. Then only we can get an overall picture of the device, what's happening.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
When you generally run a normal QK view, it should truncate most of the logs and it will be a bit compact, like 100, 200 MBs. Sometimes if you have a core file or something, or if you are, we have seen some places where customer runs some packet capture and store it in the var log folder instead of var TMP folder. So then the size is pretty huge because the QK tries to collect what is there in the var log and then try to truncate those informations. So yeah, anything in the var log, normal QK is the initial start, and based on that, as Shripal was mentioning, depending on the issue, depending on what we troubleshoot, then we may need to go to more specifics, or we will ask you to get a tarball to get the full logs in var log folder.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Balaji and Sripal. That's a great insights. What we can.
Thank you, everyone. If anyone got any questions, please go ahead. As I said, we still have another 10-12 minutes. We can clarify what we can. Hey, Sunil. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, Sunil, we are able to hear.
Yeah, Sripal, I have a question regarding, is there any remote support like IDRAC? Because in our environment, the boxes are placed in the data center premises. Sometimes when issue occur regarding the hardware like Amber Light and anything else regarding the hardware, at that time some supports ask regarding the photos.
Okay. Yeah.
So that is not feasible to us because customer not give the approval for the photos. At that time, is there any feature available in the FI box same as a ID rack? In some network devices, there is a feature that is ID rack. In that, they can take the remote access directly for the physical box. There is no need to go physically in the data center. Is it available in this box?
I can answer that part. So if you have configured remote console, so we have a serial console on the box, right?
Okay.
So if the box is powering on, we have something called always on management AOM on certain boxes, and you have a serial console. There are some, I think it's third-party vendors who do a remote console devices where you connect to the remote console through a network and you connect it through that and have a look. But if it is like not powering on, or there are some LED status, we need someone from your side to be physically present to provide those information. So if the box is on, we can collect the logs. We will get most of the informations on the logs. And if the box is not powering on and box is dead, that is where we need a physical presence from your side to do with the photo. The reason why we ask is sometimes we don't get the right explanation, or sometimes the person who goes there may not be aware on the platform of F5 and what all the LEDs to check. We do have a lot of platform guides in Ask F5 portal. If let's say you have i4800 device or something like i2600 or i7800 device. So before you go there, you look into the platform guide. It will give a very specific information. What is the status LED? What is alert LED? What is this? The backside, what LEDs are there in the power supplies? And if you can provide those informations in text format or in the email reply, that is more than enough. If sometimes you can't explain those things or provide those things, that is when we request for a photo so that we know, okay, this is the errors or this is the lights, it is glowing. So that is the reason the photo will come in. Otherwise, as long as the serial console is connected, as an FI, we cannot directly log in. We don't have that option. It is still the responsibility of the customer and the partner managing it, but depends on what tools or what software or what hardware is used by the customer. You should have remote access to the console through any means possible, like any other hardware possible. From there, we can get status if the box is online and able to log in.
Thank you, Balaji. One more question I have regarding that controller. Can you explain me about the controller and management? Because I am in my environment, FI box just implemented 1 month before, and the project team was different. So I didn't get the clarity of the controller because we have the controller and the management port on the box chassis. So what is the difference? What is the controller? Because from the management port we can get the management access, and what is the controller? I just want to get short explanation regarding the controller.
So
So
you have a Velos device?
Yeah, Velos device. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Shripal, if you can give a bit of information.
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that.
Not into technical, but I can give a bit of information, a very small and quick. So basically, controller is to control the blades what you have it on the system.
Yeah.
Okay, like how many blades you have, whether how many, how you wanted to deploy the system, whether multiple blades into one system or different blade into a different system. How do you want to design or how do you want to set up the system is used by the controllers. So it would be when you access the controller, you have the access to this particular blades. Like suppose you have a different 2-blade or 3-blade system. How do you together want to one tenant or 2 tenants or 3 tenants? How do you want to together club and use it? If you want high performance, you use whole device as a one device, right? Then you can be done. Or if you want like small tenants, individually you can use it. So how do you want to deploy and how you wanted to control on that will be used by the controller. So management is a general access. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sripal.
No worries. Yeah. Guys, have any further questions on LTM or ASM logs collections? Each issue would be different, but basic details what we expect when you open a case is if it's a ASM, QKView, policy, and object details. These are mandatory. You think it's as a mandatory. If you give us, then it would be like engineer would be working on it as soon as we get the details. Else you create a case, we ask the details, you confirm us, again we request for your details and you upload it, and it all, as you know, it takes time. So uploading the right data at the first time itself will help you to move the case in a fast forward manner. Another thing, I'm not sure if Balaji has mentioned it or not, but I would like to add, always select the right product so that it will be going to a correct person, a correct trained engineer. Sometimes what happens is if it's a ASM or AVF related issue, but the case was generated as a LTM. So as per our internal tools or the case assignment process, right, the request will go to the LTM engineer. So once the engineer gets the information, further information, he will validate it. Once he get a conclusion, that it will be assigned to a ASM engineer. So then you would so it will take a time, right? So whenever you mention the correct product, so it ensures that it is going to a correct trained engineer for that particular module at the first place itself.
Sripal.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for your time and listening to us. As I said, I'll share the support overview part and also this data collection part. So if you have any queries after you review it or you discuss with your team members, you've got some more clarification needed, please list them out and can share it with Raghavendra, our channel team service manager, and we can review and get back to you on that. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Balaji and Sripal.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Have a good day then.
Thank you, gentlemen.